Mommy, why are you crying? The small voice pulled Delaney back from the edge of her panic. She looked down at her daughter, Harper, whose wide hazel eyes stared up at her with concern. The little girl was only 4 years old, clutching her worn stuffed rabbit, snowflakes clinging to her pink coat. "I'm not crying, baby," Delaney whispered, though her voice trembled. She was 28, a single mother working 2 jobs, and right now, stranded on the side of a snowy road with a smoking engine and no money for a tow truck. "Mommy's just thinking." Harper's lip quivered. "Is the car broken?" Before Delaney could answer, headlights cut through the falling snow. A dark sedan pulled up behind them, and a man stepped out, tall, wearing a charcoal coat, his breath visible in the frozen air. "Need help?" His voice was calm, steady. Delaney hesitated. She'd learned not to trust strangers, but something in his eyes, kind, patient, made her nod. "The engine overheated. I don't know what to do." He walked over, crouching by the hood. "I'm Thatcher. Let me take a look." Thatcher Crane was 33 years old, CEO of a logistics company he'd built from nothing. He'd been driving home from a late meeting when he spotted the stalled car. He could have kept driving. Most people would have, but he didn't. He worked quietly, checking hoses, tightening connections, his hands steady despite the cold. Harper watched him through the window, her face pressed against the glass. "Radiator hose came loose," Thatcher said. "I can get you to a gas station, but you'll need a proper fix soon." Delaney's eyes filled with tears again. "I can't Don't worry about that right now." His voice was gentle. "Let's just get you and your daughter somewhere safe." Harper rolled down the window a crack. "Are you a superhero?" Thatcher smiled, a real smile that softened his tired face. "No, sweetheart. Just someone who knows how to fix cars." At the gas station, Thatcher paid for the repair without telling Delaney. He simply handed his card to the mechanic while she was inside with Harper, buying hot chocolate from the vending machine. When she came back out, the mechanic said, "You're all set, ma'am. No charge." Delaney froze. "What? No, I didn't." The mechanic nodded toward Thatcher, who was leaning against his car, scrolling through his phone. She walked over, Harper trailing behind her. "You paid for it?" Delaney said quietly, her voice tight. "It's fine." "It's not fine." Her hands shook. "Why would you do that? You don't even know me." Thatcher looked at her, really looked. He saw the exhaustion in her eyes, the weight she carried, the fear she tried to hide. "Because I know what it's like to feel alone. And no one should have to carry that by themselves." Her breath caught. "I don't know how to thank you." "You don't have to." He glanced at Harper, who was watching him with wide, curious eyes. "Just take care of her. That's enough." 3 weeks passed. Delaney thought about that night constantly, the stranger who'd stopped, who'd helped without asking for anything in return. She tried to find him online, but Thatcher wasn't much to go on. Then, on a cold Saturday morning, she took Harper to the Children's Museum downtown. They were standing in line for tickets when Harper suddenly gasped. "Mommy! Mommy, look!" Delaney followed her daughter's pointing finger. Across the lobby stood Thatcher, dressed casually in jeans and a sweater, talking to a woman holding a clipboard. A banner behind him read, "Crane Foundation, supporting children's education." "That's the man who fixed our car, Mommy!" Harper's voice rang out clear and loud. Thatcher turned, their eyes met. Recognition flickered across his face, followed by something softer. Surprise, maybe even relief. He excused himself and walked over. "Hi," he said quietly. "Hi," Delaney breathed. Harper tugged on his sleeve. "Did you come to see the dinosaurs too?" Thatcher crouched down to her level. "Actually, I help run this place. We make sure kids like you can come here and learn." Harper's eyes went wide. "You are a superhero." He laughed, and the sound was warm, genuine. When he stood, his gaze found Delaney's. "How have you been?" "Better. Thanks to you." I wanted to pay you back, but I didn't know how to find you. You don't have to. You remembered my name. Of course I did. Something unspoken passed between them, an understanding, a connection neither had expected. Over the following months, they kept running into each other, at the park, the grocery store, the library. At first, it seemed like coincidence, but then Thatcher admitted that he'd started going places he thought she might be, hoping to see her again. Why? She asked one afternoon, sitting on a bench while Harper played on the swings. Thatcher was quiet for a long moment, because that night, when I helped you, it was the first time in years I felt like I mattered, like I was doing something real. He turned to her. I've spent so long building a company, making money, proving I was worth something, but it all felt empty, until I met you. Delaney's throat tightened. Thatcher, he continued, his voice thick, I lost my brother 5 years ago. Car accident. I was supposed to be with him that night, but I stayed late at work. I've carried that guilt ever since. He looked at Harper. When I saw you and her on that road, I couldn't just drive by. I couldn't lose someone else because I was too busy or too scared to stop. Tears slipped down Delaney's cheeks. You didn't lose us. You saved us. You saved me too. His hand found hers. You reminded me that life isn't about what you build. It's about who you help, who you love. A year later, they stood in that same museum lobby, watching Harper run excitedly toward the dinosaur exhibit. Thatcher's arm was around Delaney's, her head resting on his shoulder. I never thought I'd feel this again. Safe, loved. You deserve it, he said softly. You always did. Harper ran back, grabbing both their hands. Come on, the T-Rex is waiting. As they walked together, Harper between them, Delaney looked up at Thatcher. That night, when you stopped to help us, did you ever think we'd end up here? He smiled. No, but I'm glad we did. Me too. Thank you for stopping, for seeing us, for staying. He kissed her forehead gently. I'll always stop. I'll always see you, and I'm never leaving. Harper tugged their hands. Are we a family now? Thatcher kneeled down, his eyes shining. Yes, sweetheart, we are. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness becomes the beginning of something beautiful, a reminder that we're never truly alone as long as someone is willing to stop and help. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, subscribe, and comment.